Hi, I'm Charlotte from Freezer Meals 101.
And I'm Christy, and today we are talking about salmon recipes.
When we first started doing freezer meals together, and I would tell people that we do freezer meals and that's how we feed our families and it saves so much time and money and all the things and mostly the headspace.
Mostly the headspace.
They would say like, but...
Casserole,
yeah.
Like what do you make, lasagna and soup?
Totally. And one of the things that really helped convince some of my naysayers was our salmon recipes. Now, I know not everyone likes seafood and not everyone likes salmon. Super healthy for you.
It is really good for you.
And it's just not what you would expect from a freezer meal.
But, you know, it's fairly common in freezer meals, once people understand that it's not just casseroles and lasagna.
Yes.
Or soups, that it's, you can put a marinade with chicken and bam, you know, you just make a side with it, like some rice or pasta or potatoes, and you have your meal. And you can do the same with salmons.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we have amassed a lot of salmon recipes over the years, so we're not going to bore you with all of them.
No.
But we've
here's a sampling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gathered some of the best, I think.
I think they are the best too.
And so we're going to jump right in to the first recipe. This one is the newest for us because a few weeks ago, maybe close to a month ago now, we did a mega session where we did like over 130 meals. And so I'll put a link right there if you want to go and check those out, because if you're looking for more than just salmon, we've got you covered.
Yes.
But this is the first time that we made this one was during that mega session. So you're just going to take your salmon and add it into your bag. And then you're going to mix together some whipped cream cheese and everything bagel seasoning and capers. And you're gonna put that into a medium-sized bag. You're gonna take the air out of your large bag and your medium bag, because when you're freezer cooking, air causes your freezer burn, and we stay away from freezer burn. And you're gonna staple those bags together above the seal. On the day that you go to cook this, you're going to let it thaw, and then you're going to spread that nice like cream cheese spread onto the salmon before baking it. And you've got all those flavors in there. Now, I have to tell you, everything bagel seasoning, we're kind of on a kick with it right now.
We are on a kick. Not all everything bagel seasonings are made equally.
True.
And we actually found a recipe that we made a seasonings video a while ago. We've made a few of them actually.
We'll put a link there.
And we found a really great everything bagel recipe that has it has salt flakes instead of kosher salt. And it's so
they're so thin,
and it's just a really nice texture. It's a really nice mix. We can put a link below for that.
Yeah.
Why not? If you want to make your own, and then you can kind of adjust for whatever you need to for your dietary needs. But boy, putting it in here, it sounds really good. I have not had a chance to have mine yet, but I am looking forward to this one. I like salmon, I like capers, I like cream cheese, and I like everything bagel seasoning. So I think this is going to be a winner.
So this recipe reminds me, I really love making appetizers and eating appetizers. And this recipe reminds me of like when you take some rye bread and you do smoked salmon and
with the cream cheese and the capers.
And capers and maybe some dill. This is very, very similar concept.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be amazing. And we're super excited about this new recipe. And I don't know if you know this, but our tried and true recipes end up in our Freezer Meals 101 club.
Yes, they do.
So we test them at both of our houses, and we have a large sampling of people because I've got 9 in my family and Christy's got 4 in her family.
And we eat every day.
Every day.
And so we do. We test these. We want to make sure that they are freezer ready, that they taste good, because not everything freezes well, not everything tastes good after freezing, so we want to put it through its paces before we deliver it to you. So if this is good, it's going to end up in the club, and then we will even put it on our regular website. It'll get there eventually.
Eventually. There's a process to these things, you know, but we like to bring you the best of the best, and we like to bring it to you as quickly as we can.
And we're always looking for new things. So this one is a new one. We're excited to try it, and maybe you can make it before we even get a chance to try it. This next one is mustard crusted salmon. Before I met Charla, and even before I did freezer meals, I learned how to cook salmon from this recipe. It was online. It was kind of a generic recipe of, you know, if your salmon is 1 inch thick, you should cook it at 400 for 20 to 25 minutes. If it's thicker, you'll need to increase your time. You want it to be flaky, things like that. But it kind of was a nice general salmon recipe that I had all the things for it in my house. So we do generally portion out our salmon. This one, I always learned how to make it as a whole salmon, but to fit nicely in the freezer bags, we do portion it out. And into the bag, we're going to add grainy Dijon mustard, olive oil, and in a separate bag, we're going to add breadcrumbs, parsley, and salt and pepper with a little bit of oil to give the breadcrumbs some substance and some stick-togetherness. When I was first making this, I think the first time I ever made it, I didn't have breadcrumbs on hand, so I took fresh bread and ran it through my blender and made fresh breadcrumbs, so they weren't dried out and anything. It was delicious. It was so tender, and it was lovely, and it crisped up so nice. And I made it on the full salmon and then sliced it out after. It doesn't fit nicely like I said, it doesn't fit nicely in the freezer that way, so we do portion it out, and you can put your breadcrumbs on each portion. So like I said, to cook this, you're going to do it on a cookie sheet. Get your oven up to 400. You will want to cook it about 20 or 25 minutes, depending on how thick your salmon is, and your breadcrumbs will crisp right up, and it's got a really nice marinade.
It's a really, really good one. I'm gonna pause here for a second and just mention, because I know we'll probably get comments and questions. So we were trying to film this really quickly while my grandson was asleep. He's 6 months old. He's 7 months old now.
Woo.
And we did not get finished. So he's awake, and his mama, my daughter, is with him in the next room, and you're gonna hear him.
You're gonna hear baby sounds.
You're gonna hear baby sounds. So
and he has a bit of a cold, so sometimes you're gonna hear cute little baby sneezes.
It's true. It's his very first ever cold.
Aww.
It's kind of sad, but it's
sad.
sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, he's sweet. And so just want to preface the sounds by like, that is what's happening. We try to not have background noise in our videos, but life
happens.
There's a lot of people that live in this house.
And they don't stop on a baby from sneezing.
No. So we're just going to go with it today, and we're just going to film with the noise. And so...
And that's A-okay.
That's totally... It's just, you know, we're talking about how to feed your family, and that's family.
That's family for you. There you go.
So this next recipe is our ginger soy salmon. I have a special place in my heart for this recipe.
You really do.
I love it. I think it's like, it is the flavor, but it's also like sentimental. It's kind of the, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's like the second recipe ever that converted my husband to being willing to eat salmon.
It is good.
And, you know, and it's really what sold him on salmon. Because the first recipe, I used to like thinly slice fresh garlic, and I would cover the salmon with olive oil and dill, sometimes like that lemon dilly, so it has little lemon rind in it, and then the dill, and then I would cover it with like
these little salmon slices, or garlic slices,
and it kind of looked like fish scales. Actually, it was a cool looking thing. It took me forever.
I'm sure it did,
but I had less kids at that time, and I had more time on my hands, and I wasn't doing freezer cooking. It was a long time ago. And so
did he like it? Was it good?
He liked it, was willing to eat it, but it didn't sell him on salmon.
Okay.
This recipe, the ginger soy salmon, This sold him on salmon. Then he was like, okay, I like salmon.
What I always appreciate about this salmon, especially when you make it, because I don't have to make it, Charlotte entertains a lot, and when you have a house full, she's super into appetizers, but when you have a house full of people coming, sometimes you want something that's fast and easy that is a little bit more substantial than just appetizers. And so she'll just bake this ginger soy salmon and put it out with the appetizers with a little spatula, and you can portion yourself out some of it, and it goes really nicely with other appetizers.
Totally, and it goes far, and people love it.
And even if it isn't anything related to anything else, like I've been here for meals where, I mean, we're having chicken and something totally different. She'll throw the salmon on the table and it always goes.
Because it stretches the meal too, right? Like if I have a salmon in the freezer and then I find out that we're gonna have company that day and I've already taken out one of our chicken meals or one of our beef meals or something like that, and I'm like, oh no, this is not enough. Now, if I have a second chicken of the exact same,
sure,
then I take that out. But if I don't, what am I gonna do? Well, I'm gonna pull out a salmon. It goes with everything.
It kind of does.
Then it stretches the meal, right? Mm-hmm. So salmon's not inexpensive, so it's not an inexpensive way to stretch the meal.
No.
But we recently did a video on meals you can make for nothing. $0.
Yeah, we did. There's no salmon in that one, but there's tuna.
There is tuna. That one was on pantry meals, like shopping from your
pantry. I was thinking we'll put a link for it there. Yeah. Sometimes I have canned salmon in my pantry. Growing up, we would eat canned salmon like we would tuna, like we would make salmon salad sandwiches.
Yes.
And as a little kid, my favorite part was eating the bones because they were so little and they were cooked so thoroughly that they would just crumble in your mouth, and I loved that texture as a little kid. Ugh. It's not for everybody, and that's okay.
But I know what
I mean, though?
Yes, and I often have salmon in my freezer. I didn't this time, but because I have this salmon ball recipe.
Right.
That is like you mix it with cream cheese and you coat it with dill, and there's some seasonings in there and Worcestershire and like all the things. But that salmon ball is so good on crackers, and so I'll often make it as an appetizer. And so I do often have salmon in my pantry, but
yeah,
we're not going to be making the ginger soy salmon with a can of
salmon. That would be sad.
The same.
All right, we'll get to the recipe.
Okay, so in your large freezer bag, you're going to add your salmon. Again, we just cut it into portion sizes and add those in there. We just find it fits better, and then you have less work to do the day of. Mm-hmm. And when we do our freezer meals, we're making many at the same time. And so then if you're cooking or if you're cutting one salmon, you might as well cut a whole bunch of salmon.
Absolutely.
When you're using the same cutting board, the same knife, you're not messing with a whole lot more dishes. It's just, might as well.
Fill your bags up and go to...
Then in a small bowl, we're gonna mix together some orange juice and cornstarch. Now, you may have heard us in other videos tell you not to add the cornstarch until the day of cooking, because cornstarch in a sauce can often make a sauce separate after thawing once you've frozen it. This is one of those meals where the cornstarch never separates.
It doesn't seem to. It works really well.
Seems to work. So we're just gonna go with it, and we continue to make it. We've made it for like a dozen years, mm-hmm. and then you're gonna add that into your bag with the salmon, and then add some soy sauce, olive oil, a bit of brown sugar, some lemon pepper seasoning, some minced garlic, and some minced ginger. We like to use the squeezy tube ginger. We find it has like a nice fresh taste without the work of grating your ginger. So you're gonna take all your excess air out of that bag, seal it, and freeze it. On the day that you go to cook this, you thaw it, and then you can cook it either in your oven. Again, you probably want to line your baking sheet with foil just to make cleanup easier, or you can cook this on the barbecue. It's a really nice barbecue one. You want to create a foil packet if you're going to do it on the barbecue and place it inside, seal it, and barbecue it 10 to 15 minutes or until it flakes pretty easily. With salmon, really, all of the cooking, that's the important part. You want it to flake easily.
Right. And we've talked about this before, but when you talked about putting it in the foil packet, because I went and Googled it after we talked about it last time, about people that cook their salmon in the dishwasher.
Right.
It's a thing. You can Google it. It's a thing. It's like a sous vide. You put it in your dishwasher. It will cook it for long enough that it will be cooked, and probably not as high a heat as your oven or your dishwasher, or as your oven or your barbecue, but just the fact that it's in there for a long time, it is a thing. You can Google it. It's a little weird. I've never done it, but it is kind of a fun topic.
Now, we're not advocating cooking your salmon in your dishwasher. It's just something that's come up.
It's just something that's come up. It is not a method in our recipes.
No. We use the more tried and true oven,
consistent,
skillet, barbecue, the typical kind of cooking methods,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
We're venturing into the air fryer these days.
We are. This would be good in the air fryer.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would indeed.
It could be an appetizer. We could make it into little squares.
Oh, yes.
And do it in the air fryer and then put it on a cracker.
That would be so good. And like the ingredients in this, like the orange juice and the ginger and it's so flavorful. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's just so good.
It is.
This next one is probably the fastest of our salmon recipes to put together, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
It's like a dump recipe.
It's 5 ingredients or less. It is a bit of a salmon dump recipe. Yeah, right? So you start it with your salmon in your bag. You're going to add in a half a cup of your favorite barbecue sauce. It really can be anything that you like. We're going to also add in some brown sugar, some green onion that is sliced, and then salt and pepper. And voila, that is it. You're going to seal it up, lay it flat to freeze. This is a good one for your barbecue. Again, you want to probably make that little pocket or do it on a cedar plank. Because,
absolutely.
You soak it and then it makes the smokiness.
Mm-hmm. It takes on some of that flavor.
It does. I have not cooked I've not cooked salmon that way, but I've eaten it that way.
And I have cooked it that way. Oh yeah, she's
good.
A really good cook.
She had pistachios on that thing. It was good. It was good. And then, you could do it in the oven, not the dishwasher. Same tried and true. If you got your 1 inch of salmon, you want to make sure that you get at least 20 or 25 minutes there, and it should just flake nicely and it'll be done.
When I said that we've been making the ginger soy salmon forever, that was true. This is another one that we started making around the same time, forever. And that's our dill salmon. Dill and salmon just pair nicely together.
Dill and fish in general, and just dill and salmon. It's terrific.
And you can use dry dill for this or fresh dill. I have an indoor herb garden that I kind of love a lot. And so I always have fresh dill, or often have fresh dill on hand. And so I usually use fresh dill for this, but when I run out, I have used dry and it's just fine. And
I don't have a little indoor herb garden, and so I will grow my dill outside and then dry it, and then I will have homemade dill to go on it.
Dill for days,
and it is really good.
So in our large freezer bag, we're gonna add our salmon that's been portioned out, and then in a small bowl, we're gonna mix together some sour cream, mayonnaise, dill, garlic, and lemon juice. We're gonna mix that well and then just pour it into the bag, squish it around to coat the salmon, and then take your excess air out, seal it and freeze it. Just a small note about the mayonnaise here. Traditionally, mayonnaise doesn't freeze terribly well or freeze and thaw terribly well, but in some recipes, especially ones where it's combined with something like sour cream, we've found that it does okay. And in this one, we've never had issues.
Never had a problem with it. No.
So it's
consistently good.
When you go to bake this, it's the same as all the other ones. We could have just been like, copy paste, right? So copy paste our descriptions from the other ones. You're gonna put it on a foil lined tray in the oven. You could also barbecue it if you prefer We don't recommend putting it in the dishwasher, but if you've got nothing else,
you could do it.
You could do it in a pinch.
You could.
So
this one has a lot of sauce. So if you do it on the barbecue, foil packet or on the plank, just to kind of contain it, because it'll be a little drippy. Yeah. I
do like, because of the sauce, I do like to serve this one with rice or potatoes, because there sometimes is a little bit of sauce that you can
and the mayonnaise in it allows it to sometimes brown a bit. Have you ever taken it out and like the top is starting to get a bit crispy? Because there's oil in the mayonnaise, and it just crisps up. It's a nice one.
It's nice.
It's nice.
So if you hate salmon, then I'm assuming you didn't click on this video.
I would think.
But
if we can convert you, it's going to be through the ginger soy.
Yes, if you're going to try, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
If you're going to try one of these just to like test, like put your little toe in the water of seafood, or like salmon, which is so good for those omegas and all the healthy, right? Then just try the ginger soy salmon if you like those sort of Asian inspired flavors. If you don't, then maybe you do the dill or something like that.
The dill's a little milder,
you know,
but just as flavorful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
just different.
Give it a try. Let us know how it goes for you.
And tell us if you've ever tried to cook your salmon in a dishwasher. I'm really actually curious now.
We've said people have heard of it, or we've heard that people have heard of someone they know doing it. We've yet to meet someone that is like, I do that.
Right. I learned it from my sister-in-law. Her husband grew up on Vancouver Island. They know salmon. And so that's where she learned of it and told me about it one day. And I'm like, that sounds crazy. But I Google it. It's really a thing.
It's a thing.
You could give it a try. Let us know how it goes.
Totally. We're going to put a video right there to that mega session where we made the everything bagel salmon and a whole lot of things that are not salmon. If you are looking for easy recipes to feed yourself or feed your family, check that out.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us today into our foray into salmon. Yay! Happy cooking.
See you next time.